North America is on the cusp of a massive shift in public health policy as Robert F. Kennedy Jr. leads the charge to dismantle Big Pharma's stranglehold, while the incoming Trump administration works to slash government corruption, promising a global reckoning that will reshape health systems and restore accountability to the people.
You say clearing out the corruption in your terms. Would that mean clearing out the top level federal service workers that are currently at the FDA and the CDC?
In some categories, I would say.
What does that look like? Yeah.
In some categories of workers, there are entire departments, like the nutrition departments at FDA, that have to go.
There is a seismic shift in the landscape of public health policy in the United States, and the tectonic plates are about to start shifting fast. Buckle up, because the medical mafia from Big Pharma, the entrenched bureaucrats, and so-called health experts are about to feel the heat. The very fabric of government health agencies in the United States are on the verge of unraveling, and we cannot ignore the ricochet effect that this will likely have on Canada, as well as the broader implications for our global strategy. Leading the charge and this change is none other than Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
This is what most Americans innocently put into their bodies these days, and most alarmingly, into the bodies of their children. And it's no coincidence that Americans die earlier than Canadians or Germans or Italians or Japanese or Koreans or Australians or most any other comparable country. And it wasn't always that way. Until the early 1990s, our life expectancy was the same or better than other developed countries. We've grown now to accept chronic disease conditions as normal. But now, in 2024, we're finally waking up to this cataclysm, and we're asking ourselves, how in the world did this happen?
Yes, that's right. RFK Jr., a name that resonates deeply in the corridors of power for one reason. Like his predecessors before him, who were assassinated for their anti-corruption stance, he is standing up to the crooked and collusive relationship between Big Pharma and the very institutions tasked with upholding health and health policy. He's taken it upon himself to dismantle the stranglehold Big Pharma has on U.S. health policy, to clear out the financial conflicts of interest, and to reform the health agencies that have long been captured by corporate greed, and finally put an end to the revolving door between industry and regulators. Just when you thought that the plot couldn't thicken any further, well, welcome President-elect Donald Trump with a game-changing move of his own. He's tapped none other than Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to lead the Department of Government Efficiency, called Doge, with the sole mission of slashing waste, hacking away at bureaucratic bloat, and cutting out the rot that has come to define the federal bureaucracy.
The amount of waste that happens with the federal government is really staggering. It's a staggering amount of waste of taxpayer money. And if we're, for any given expenditure, we have to say, well, what does this do for the citizens of America? Like, how is this good for the people of America? It's their money. Like, for some weird reason, a lot of people in the sort of, state or whatever, the politicians, they seem to forget that the money being spent is your money. And if it's not being spent in a way that is beneficial to the American people, it's a misuse of the funds.
The excess government spending is what causes inflation, Musk posted on X. All government spending is taxation. This is a very important concept to appreciate. It is either direct taxation, like income tax, or indirect via inflation due to increasing the money supply. Musk, of course, isn't one to mince words. He's already warning that this initiative will send shockwaves through the system, promising that the hammer of justice is coming. And honestly, good. It's about time. Now, here's where it really gets interesting. Kennedy's promise to reform the public health agencies is a game changer. He's not talking about making a few superficial tweaks here and there. No, he's telling these agencies point blank, preserve your records and pack your bags. The message is clear. The medical establishment is about to be put on trial, and not necessarily in the court of law, but in the court of public opinion. And as the spotlight shines on the United States, make no mistake, our health bureaucracies here in the North won't escape the reckoning either. In fact, Canada could use a heavy dose of this reform too. A Department of Government Efficiency could work wonders here, perhaps under a new slogan, make government accountable again. For far too long, we've been paying the price for a bloated, ineffective, and often corrupt health system that bends over backwards to appease the big pharma giants while sidelining the needs of everyday Canadians that ultimately compromises their health. The bureaucrats, the unelected public health officials, and yes, that includes Theresa Tam, they have gotten far too comfortable. The status quo is about to come crashing down, and the people behind the curtain should be shaking in their boots.
Reject the impulse. It's going to happen in the next 4 years. We will face temptation to say that we want to replace that left-wing nanny state with a right-wing nanny state. The right answer to that question is hell no. The right answer is to dismantle the nanny state. We will face the temptation to say we want to replace the left-wing regulatory state with a right-wing regulatory state. The right answer to that is hell no. We want to dismantle the regulatory state. We will face the temptation to say, hey, we want to staff the bureaucracies with our own people and claim that we want to reform them. No. The right answer is to get in there and shut down the bureaucracy. That's how we save this country. That's what our founding fathers fought for in 1776.
Let's be clear. This isn't about politics. This isn't about party lines. This is about reclaiming accountability, dismantling the corporate capture of health policy, and putting people back in charge. And when the US leads the way in cutting the fat from their bureaucratic behemoth, the wave of reform will be felt here in Canada too. No more kowtowing to Big Pharma. No more allowing unelected officials to hold power over our individual health choices. It's time to stand up, to speak out, and demand real change. So Theresa Tam and anyone else who has been complicit in the conflicted behavior that has eroded public trust over the years, take note. The wave is coming, and it's coming fast. The people are waking up, and with RFK Jr. and Trump leading the charge, this could be the beginning of the end for the unchecked corporate influence that has held our health systems hostage for decades. It's time to make them accountable again, and the ripple effect from these changes south of the border are going to hit. We're on the precipice of a new era in health policy, one where people, not Big Pharma, take the reins. And that, my friends, is the change that we have all been waiting so patiently for. Make government accountable again, and make being healthy the norm again. For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini. If you think that Canada should follow suit and you want to keep the pressure on our official opposition to do so, please visit /thebureaucracy.com and send a form email to the leader of the official opposition, Pierre Poilievre, calling on him to revolutionize Canadian policy and hold our government accountable by cutting red tape, slashing waste, and dismantling the bloated bureaucracy that's failing everyday Canadians. Visit /thebureaucracy.com to take real action and demand real change.